The Joker once said, "It's all a joke. Everything that anybody ever valued or struggled for, it's all a monstrous, demented gag." So why can't you see the funny side? Why aren't you laughing? Whenever something happens like Drew McIntyre not winning against Roman Reigns at Clash of the Castle, or Cody Rhodes failing to dethrone the Tribal Chief at WrestleMania, I'm bombarded in the comment section and also on the live streams by fans who are furious at what just transpired, and they're usually looking for me to join in on their rage. But, alas, I don't. And I usually make a video talking about what just happened, and I approach the situation from a logical point of view, and sometimes I even try to look at it from the WWE side of things. Which of course only sets them off even further because they want to know why I'm not as mad as they are. And the reason for that all comes down to just one particular outcome. An outcome which is the topic of this video. Because today, please support this channel by subscribing, and you could support it even further by signing up over on my Patreon page, just like Inigo Montoya and Mr. J. Thank you and the rest of the Patrons for all the amazing support as you keep this channel going. This moment right here broke me. It broke me as a wrestling fan, and it was the moment that would forever prevent me from being able to truly appreciate and love professional wrestling ever again. I know, call me a mark, but in reality that's what this is. It's the confession of a mark, because I am full on 100% admitting that I was a mark for this streak. The idea that one of the most beloved wrestlers of all time, being undefeated in a predetermined scripted sport, mind you, at the biggest show of the year was important to me. It mattered. I cared. And when it was taken away, it made me realize that I shouldn't, and that I was quite frankly stupid for ever caring in the first place. Once the counter 3 hit, something changed in me. It's when I really became a smart fan, because going forward, I would refuse to ever be a dumb one ever again. Smartness would be my self-defense mechanism to ensure that I could not be hurt by pro wrestling anymore. So today, and in all the days ever since that fateful night in April almost 10 years ago, whenever people ask me, "Aren't you mad that Cody Rhodes didn't win at WrestleMania against Roman Reigns?" Or "How angry are you that Daniel Bryan didn't win the Royal Rumble?" Or "I'm sure you're irate that Brock Lesnar won Money in the Bank when he wasn't even in the match." Well, the answer to all that is no, I'm not. I'm not upset. I'm not mad. I just don't care. Any incidents that happen after the streak just isn't going to upset me like it would have if it happened before. Because for it to do so, it would require passion, and a specific kind of passion that I just don't have it ever since that night at WrestleMania 30. Now don't get me wrong, I still watch professional wrestling and I'm still capable of getting excited for a lot of things, it's just not the same. For instance, I still loved a lot of parts of the Tribal Chief saga. The stuff with Sami Zayn and the Usos was absolutely fantastic. And I got really excited when CM Punk made his debut in AEW and finally came back after 7 long years. And furthermore, his work with MJF was top notch. So don't get it twisted, I'm not incapable of enjoying anything when it comes to professional wrestling, but I am saying that my ability to be disappointed by it has diminished greatly. And as much as I love these moments, I don't love them with all my heart, because if I never fully love anything, then there's no way I could ever fully hate it when it gets taken away. And don't kid yourself, that's exactly what will happen. Wrestling gives you something to love and then it takes it away from you. It's just the nature of the industry. Mick Foley retired, Stone Cold Steve Austin walked out, The Rock became an actor, CM Punk walked out twice, and of course the Montreal Screwjob happened. But out of all those events and many others that I didn't even mention, it was the streak that was the real wake-up call for me to realize just how futile all this really is. And I say that it's a wake-up call because this was the moment that taught me a valuable lesson. It taught me that professional wrestling owes me nothing. It owes you nothing. Vince McMahon doesn't owe you anything. Tony Khan doesn't owe you anything. No matter how much you love professional wrestling, no matter how much joy it's brought you in the past, there is no reason it has to give you any more going forward. All in all, the wrestling business is just that, a business, and it seems that their only goal is to make money, and if they do something that makes you happy in the pursuit of that, well, that's just a byproduct. It's by no means their primary focus. But we'll get more into that. For now, let's just go back to the beginning. Let's set the clock back a year before the unpleasantness. After WrestleMania 29, I was complaining that WWE brought Brock Lesnar back, a wrestler who I liked at the time, only to have him job out to Triple H at the biggest show show of the year? Combined with how much I already hated Triple H due to his reign of terror, I just couldn't see the value of putting old Triple H over someone who had a lot of potential, a lot of upside, and in my opinion was a much bigger star than Triple H could ever be. I wanted Brock Lesnar to get his due, I wanted Brock Lesnar to get his push, and after his first match back against John Cena and this match against Triple H at WrestleMania 29, I thought that was never going to happen. Boy, was I wrong. And also, something else that I didn't know, I didn't realize that this would be the last WrestleMania for CM Punk, and that it would be the last match of the streak. And also, this is just another example of being careful of what you wish for. In the years since, and if you saw my video on the sunk cost fallacy, you know that I think the decision to uber push Brock has been a bad idea. And giving him the biggest push in all of WWE history is not just a mistake because it brought the streak to a grinding halt, but it's a mistake because there's no benefit from it. WWE wanted to use that momentum and parlay that to the person who eventually did beat Brock, which they had hoped was going to be Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 31, only the fans didn't accept him, making it all for naught. And let's also remember that the fans were so mad about this that it even managed to derail Cesaro's push, as Paul Heyman revealed that the reason why their pairing didn't work out was because the fans were just booing Brock Lesnar and Heyman whenever they saw him, leaving his new client Cesaro in the background in every segment that he was in. And to make matters worse, let's remember who was the first person to finally defeat Brock after ending the streak, because it was Bill Goldberg, who was almost 50 years old at the time, and not only did he beat Brock, but he also squashed him in true Goldberg fashion. Yeah, that whole Goldberg resurgence, let's remember it all started with Brock Lesnar. But that's just one side of the equation. Let's look at the other side. Let's remember the terrible feud that Bray Wyatt had against the Phenom. This is something else that could have been really special, but instead it wound up amounting to just about nothing. Or what about the repeat matches that Taker had against Lesnar, where he tapped out? Or ate a pin to Brock Lesnar yet again, but this time inside of a cell. After all this, cui bono, who really benefited? How was this better for WWE? How was this better for wrestling? How was this better for wrestling fans? Now, while that moment did teach me that professional wrestling is just a business, it also afforded me the right to really question them whenever they do something that's financially stupid, like supporting Brock Lesnar. Although, as satisfying as it may be calling WWE out on some of their more questionable business decisions, it didn't make dealing with the streak any easier, and after all these years, it only made it worse, because now it's terrible on another level. Because now, not only did it take away something that wrestling fans loved and made a lot of wrestling fans miserable, but it also hasn't bore any financial fruit. And sure, there are always going to be some people who disagree, but when you look at all the facts, well, it's clear that those people really have no idea what they're talking about. Listen, I know there are plenty of you contrarian fools out there who just love to argue, and there might even be some of you out there who really think that this was a good idea, but you're wrong, simple as that. There's really nothing else to it. The WrestleMania winning streak unequivocally brought more people joy than ending it ever could. So even if you do for some reason think that this was a good strategic maneuver, I have to ask, did it make you happy? And let's also remember that as soon as it happened, there were those out there who poorly tried to justify WWE making the decision. As you might recall, there were those at the time who said that Undertaker was an old school guy and he believed in going out on his back, ignoring that there was nothing that said he had to retire at WrestleMania, and that this whole going out on your back philosophy isn't exactly true. And now, all these years later, we know that that was not his retirement match. Furthermore, we also know that he would go out as a winner. And just like how that original excuse didn't hold up, none of the ones since hold up either. Now, of course, when this first happened, I was heartbroken, but it wasn't until very recently that I realized how much a toll it took on me. Does this reaction seem silly? Yes, but so does being in love with a fictional sport in the first place. I know the term ruined my childhood gets thrown around a lot, and I'm not quite saying that that's what happened to me, especially considering that most of the streak happened while I was an adult. But what I'm trying to convey is that after how distraught I felt when this happened, I look back on all those early years and all those happy memories I had, and I realize just how ridiculous all of it was. And every time I think I'm capable of going back to liking wrestling the way I used to, I think better of it. And I just remembered the night that the WrestleMania winning streak came to a close. Well, there you go, the reason why I could never truly love professional wrestling ever again. Please leave a like for this video and make sure that you're in the know by subscribing to this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to all my awesome Patreon supporters out there. And as always, Dave knows.